We recorded today's video for everyone that bought our powerful net worth tool, but after creating it, we realized it was so good, we wanted everyone to have access.
And here's the truth. When you start doing your annual net worth statement, it literally can change your financial life. So go to learn.moneyguy.com to learn more.
It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
Welcome, Money Guy family. Today, we're going to help you learn how to harness the power of your net worth statement.
Yeah, Brian, I'm so excited about this because doing our annual net worth statements has probably become one of the highlights of our years. It is now an annual tradition that you and I both look forward to every single year. And our hope is, as we kind of walk through why we think it's valuable and how we use our net worth statements, we hope that you guys also will become excited about working through this exercise every single year.
I'll go a step further. I think this is foundational to wealth building.
Sure.
This is, I personally attribute this annual process of recording my net worth as a big part of my personal success. And we want to help you also unlock the potential of that invisible hand. And we'll get into a lot of that. But Bo, kind of walk them through, what are the big takeaways we're expecting from just unlocking the net worth template?
Yeah, so there's essentially 5 things that we think a net worth statement can do for you. Number 1 is it gives you an inventory of what you own and what you owe. Number 2, it can help you craft your goals. It helps with goal creation and coming up with those things that are truly important to you. It can also help you monitor metrics of change throughout your financial life cycle. It can serve as a communication tool between you and your spouse or you and your family members. And then maybe the most exciting thing that it can do is it can awaken the invisible hand of wealth building and wealth creation.
So let's jump right into these. First, this is what I consider basic, inventory. One of the first things that I like about the net worth template and just doing your own net worth statement is that it's going to show what you got, what you owe, and that is so powerful because how do you know where you're going if you don't even know what you have?
That's exactly right. The first thing you're going to do when you actually access the template is you're going to list out all of your assets, the things that you own. You're going to list out all of your liabilities, the things that you owe, and the difference in those two is going to be your net worth. That's what it's actually comprised of, is the difference in your assets and your liabilities. So every year you're going to have a running list of what those things are in your financial life.
And what I like is that this is, because a lot of people, especially with the way real estate's been running up, a lot of people feel like their net worth is increasing rapidly, but when you do a net worth statement, you're going to realize how much of this is actually liquid.
That's
what
right.
could you get your hands on if you really needed to? This will expose that to you. It's also going to help you understand, and that kind of leads into our 3-bucket strategy. And we're talking about your after-tax, which is your brokerage accounts, whether they're individual or joint, your tax-deferred, which is all your retirement accounts with your employer, their matching funds, and then we, of course, have tax-free, which are all those Roth accounts, your Roth IRA, your Roth 401k, and your Roth 403b.
Yeah, so right on your net worth dashboard, you are going to see your specific tax buckets. On the input page, you select what year you want to view, and when you look at this, it'll show you exactly how much you have, both in dollar terms and in percentage of your total portfolio, in tax-deferred investments, after-tax investments, and tax-free investments. So it's a lot of fun to go say, okay, where were my tax buckets 5 years ago? Where are they today? As I move forward, how do I need to save in order to build up the tax buckets that maybe I'm lacking in? This is going to show you exactly where you are right now.
And all my financial mutants that are retiring before those predetermined limits, like 55 for 401ks and 403bs, 59.5 for the IRAs, this is going to allow you to see, do you have that bridge account built up? Really powerful stuff. That leads to number 2. We want you to use your net worth for goal creation.
That's right. Have you ever wondered, man, I really want to be a millionaire, or maybe I want to have $1 million portfolio by the time I get to this age, or maybe I want to pay off my student loans, or I want to be debt-free by 50. Your net worth statement is going to be the thing that highlights what those goals in your financial life should be.
Well, I think everybody's trying to get to that abundance stage where you do what you want, when you want, and how you want. But there's no way to get there without at least knowing where you are in that journey. And this is going to keep it all top of mind so you know exactly where you stand in your financial journey.
And what I love is when you do your net worth statement, really when you're building to financial independence, your goal is to actually be wealthy, not just to look wealthy. So creating these types of goals inside your net worth statement will inform how you make your day-to-day consumption decisions and how you make those big decisions as you work through your financial life.
Well, I think this this is the big difference that most people miss about true wealth. Because you said it. A lot of people out there look rich. That you can tell that by the watch they wear, the house they live in, the car they drive. All those things sit out in the open for everyone to see, but that's looking rich. You don't really know if those people are wealthy. We've seen lots of case studies that most of them are probably in debt up to their eyeball.
Yep.
Wealth, true wealth, is going to reside on your net worth statement. You can see the growth of your assets. You can see the decrease in your debt. That's the stuff that's actually going to show you how close you are to that true goal of financial independence.
And as you make your decisions, it'll help you determine things like, man, will buying that vacation home or will purchasing that timeshare actually move me closer to financial independence? Was that luxury car a good decision? Well, after you watch it depreciate a few years in your net worth statement, you might recognize maybe that wasn't the best decision for me. Or you might look back and say, man, I'm so glad that myself 10 years ago maxed out those Roth IRAs, because look at what those tax-free dollars have done every year as I've built up my net worth.
As we were designing this, Bo, I thought it was because I've transferred. We actually are using this tool
this is
for
the one that we
this is the
use
tool
personally.
we use personally now, and I transitioned over 15 years worth of data into my net worth template. And what I found interesting is through that period, I've had a few cars. It is very grounding to see that luxury car you buy and how fast it depreciates every year. I know these are unique times currently, but it will help keep it top of mind on what is actually building wealth versus things that you're buying, you feel good about for a short period of time, but then they quickly lose value and actually do not help you in the process.
Yeah, Brian, you just mentioned something so interesting. You've been doing this for long enough now, and I too have been doing this for over a decade now. And one of the beautiful things that a net worth statement will allow you to do, if you put the time in to do it year over year, is it will allow you to track metrics of change through your financial life.
Yeah, the metrics of change. This is powerful. This is probably one of the parts when I get to in a minute, the invisible hand of waking up that part of your brain that's going to propel you into success. This is kind of gives you the baseline of, hey, how much did my assets go up? How much is my debt being paid down every year? This is going to give you that baseline knowledge to know exactly where you are and to monitor it year over year.
Yeah, I think one of the most valuable sheets that you're going to find as you work through the template is the dashboard. This is kind of the big culmination of all the stuff that we often talk about with net worth. How have my metrics changed over my life cycle? What does my journey to abundance look like? Where are my tax buckets? What is my money guy wealth score? The dashboard will tell you that, and it will allow you to see visually how each one of those components of your net worth has changed over time.
This is actually what I think our template is different, is that you and I have been tracking net worth statements for decades now. And what I find interesting is that we recommend everyone do this activity, and we've given out templates for net worth statements. People have downloaded them. It's very easy for anyone to go download a net worth statement, start filling it out. But the problem is after you've done it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you'll start wanting more. You'll say, yeah, you get tired of going back and forth between this year and that year because you can't see it all in one place of what's actually changed. So this is the power that I like, is that it actually, through the dashboard, lets you see those changes right in front of you. That is so much more powerful, to the point. This is what actually motivated us to do this. You and I, because we're nerds, we had created net worth templates within Excel, Google, the sheets, but we all added graphic elements on there because we just couldn't tell it all as easily without pulling out the calculator. We've done all that hard work for you, so this is a tool that's better than just a really good net worth statement.
Yeah, and this is one of the most fun things to do, right? So a lot of folks will start out by saying, oh, well, I don't have any assets, or I haven't really been building wealth. Man, I'm not going to start yet. If you wait to start doing your net worth statement until later, until after you have some assets, you're going to be so frustrated at yourself. Because one of the things I love seeing is using that metric of change portal to see where I was when I first started in my career, where I was when I maxed out my very first Roth IRA, to where I am today, and watching how that journey's progressed is such an exciting journey.
So this next big goal, the communication tool, this has been very powerful for both of us with our spouses.
Absolutely.
Look, you guys know, we are financial mutants. We wouldn't be running one of the largest financial education platforms in the world if this wasn't a passion of ours. And it's so much passion. You can imagine we have spouses that probably just are not as energized
exactly
as
right.
we are, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't know every detail of our financial life, because I worry about it, and we've been doing this long enough helping clients that your no day is promised or guaranteed to you. So you need to have good communication with your spouse and loved ones. I use every year, and now it's gotten better, but I remember, because I've been doing this for decades now, my wife would keep that annual printout of the net worth statement. We'd have a discussion on what had changed, but then she would keep it in one of her drawers in her dresser. So just in case something has happened, I'm hoping that you will use this tool as that communication element. So every year you and your loved ones can talk about what has changed, where are we at, what are the important things you need to know in case I'm not here. And I think, and I'll go a step further, Bo, to say that if you paired this with like a password management tool, that's one of the powerful things. You'll know what assets you and your household have. You'll know how to get access to them. This could be tremendously valuable. And we even took it a step further. Once again, this is better than the traditional net worth template you download out there on the internet. We put in a footnotes page so you can share even more information with your loved one.
That's exactly right. I always tell my wife, if something were to happen to me, this is where the net worth template is located. And on the footnotes page, it's going to tell you who you need to contact, what phone numbers you need to call, where the life insurance policies are, what the numbers are, how does the disability policy work, where are the girls' college accounts. This essentially lists out everything that she would need to know, every question she could ask me if I were not here to answer that question for her. And it's beautiful. What this reminds us is, as we look at it annually and update it, I say, oh man, now's a really good time. We need to go update our beneficiary designations, because what we used to have, we've had additional kids since then, or our circumstances have changed, or we've moved states. This footnotes page will remind you and keep, again, top of mind, right in front of you, the things that are important for making sure your financial ship keeps moving in the right direction.
So we just covered all the functional side of this as a communication tool. I want to talk about how you go from basic to sexy, though. Because, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, in the beginning, when you review your net worth statement and the changes in your net worth statement with your loved one, it's going to highlight if maybe you aren't doing a good enough job with the basics of budgeting and where you're spending money. But my goal, you do this long enough, you will get to the point that your annual review of your net worth statement will turn into something much more sizzly.
Yep.
Because what it's going to allow you to do is now you and your loved one can talk about those lifetime goals of, hey, where do we want to travel? What are some of the things we want to do on our bucket list? And it creates those things that I do, those types of goals and dreams that I do think make relationships just that much better, where you can sit back and be rewarded for all your hard work and looking into it.
And what I like about doing it annually and having this process is, if you have one member of your household who maybe doesn't love the finances as much, maybe they're not logging in and looking at the accounts, it creates a very intentional space for you to have those conversations where you can talk about what are the things that are important to us? What are our goals? Why are we sacrificing now for something in the future? The net worth statement, the process, is the thing that allows you to continue keeping that line of communication open.
So that leads to number 5. And guys, I'm going to try to, I hope this comes out the way I want it to, because I want to talk about awakening that invisible hand. I feel such a weight to make sure you understand this is the power of doing your annual net worth. This is the power of having an ability to track the year-over-year change, is because what happens, anybody who decides they want to go start a business or get serious about something to the point that they have to go to a bank or to try to get somebody to invest or back this, they have to do a business plan. They have to write down, what are the goals? What is this going to look like on a pro forma? Guys, it is going to be the exact same thing. Just like you would have to go to a bank, you would have to go to an investor to show them this. You are doing this thing for yourself.
Yep.
When you actually craft out and put the data into the template, it's going to awaken something in what's inside your brain. We're not using all of our brain power. And once you have true measurable goals that you're trying to accomplish, I think you will be shocked at how the invisible hand of crafting the goal will start working even while you sleep. Now, this sounds crazy, but I want to give you 2 case study examples of this, and you can fill in the details too, Bo. When I went out on my own with my first business, I went to conferences, and every year they said, hey, you need to write out what your ideal client looks like. You also need to go look at your existing clients and see how they fit. What bucket are they in? Are they A clients, B clients, C clients? I didn't do that for the first 6 years I was in business. Huge mistake. The year I actually did it, I noticed a change because I looked back 3 years later and the way my clients were broken out completely changed. And I was like, this is almost like magical. And I know it wasn't. It was that I unlocked. Fast forward, net worth review. You and I decided we were going to move or consider moving to Nashville around 2011.
That's right.
Transferring over that 15 plus years of history into this template that we've created, I saw a magical thing to the point, and I was spiritually moved by this, that I took my daughters and my wife, we went to dinner, and I shared just the amazing thing I saw when I reviewed the history of our net worth is that the fact that we created a goal, we were tracking where we were. It was you could see the invisible hand of my cash reserves. They were much more focused. The asset growth through savings and investing, they were on point. And I'm telling you, this sounds out there, but if you will go on this journey, put the time in, fill in the data, you will be writing me in 3 to 5 years from now and be like, you are exactly right. This is the most powerful part of this, is that we give you that ability to track year over year change, see it graphically, waken that invisible hand. It is tremendously going to take you where you need to be.
And what's amazing is that invisible hand will affect even the consumption decisions that you make. Again, as I've done mine for over a decade now, I see when we've bought luxury cars and watched how they depreciate. I've seen when we've taken out loans and then the net worth didn't increase at the pace. It now informs the way that my wife and I approach making every financial decision. We're thinking about it through the lens of how is this going to show up on our net worth statement this year, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And I would argue that because we do this process, we make much more sound financial decisions for the long term now.
So hopefully we've gotten everybody motivated. Now the question everybody's going to say, because you're all financial mutants, or soon to be graduated financial mutants, how often should I do this?
Sure.
And this is a question we get all the time, so I feel like we'd go ahead and address it in this video. I do think your net worth and your journey on building wealth is not much different than raising a child. In the beginning, I mean, you gotta be with them every hour almost. I mean, because you're feeding them, you're changing the diapers, you're making sure they're laying in the crib correctly. So you might have to do your net worth monthly, or quarterly, because it's not only your net worth, you're working on your budget and other things to make sure this thing's working right. But you will see as you get more mature in your wealth journey, all this is growing up, just like your children grow up, and they're more independent. And this is the part that I like, is that you'll notice and you'll develop that muscle memory where you'll have automatic savings, you'll have automatic wealth building habits, and all this does is affirm the good decision making you've already done, and then you'll hopefully get to the point, and you don't have to do this. A lot of people will write in that they're still doing it quarterly, or because they do it more for the enjoyment, but you'll only be required really to do this annually once you develop that muscle memory. And that's where we do think that this is such a powerful tool, and I hope that people, even if you are doing it monthly, this is the type of tool you probably ought to focus on the annual element, just so you can see those year-over-year changes.
I love surprises, and I hate ruining surprises, right? So one of the things that I do is I purposefully try not to track my net worth or have an idea of my net worth throughout the course of the year, because as soon as 12/31 hits, I know for like New Year's Day, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go check all my account statements. I'm going to start filling my net worth statement. And I get so excited looking at how it changes, because I don't want to ruin the surprise. I don't want to rob from my New Year's Day self the excitement around what's going on my net worth statement. So I purposefully choose to do it once a year at the beginning of the year in January, and then sometime in the second or third week of January, my wife and I will go out to dinner to discuss it and kind of go over it and have that conversation. I think it is such a fun annual tradition that we've built in now.
We are recording this in November. I didn't put this year's information into the template because I didn't want to ruin that surprise or the element of just watching the change, and then that discussion I have with my wife. So I completely understand what you mean by that. So I'm just excited. Hopefully you get as energized as we do about this whole annual process of building and looking and reviewing and seeing what the dashboard reveals about your wealth journey. But Bo, tell them what's next. Where do you go from here?
Yeah, so you've bought the template and maybe you filled out the first year, and this is the first you've ever done a network statement. Great. Keep doing it. Make sure that you do it next year and the following, because as you begin to build history here is when it gets really, really exciting. But perhaps after you've done this, you start saying, okay, I've got my template. I want next year's net worth statement to look better than this year's. And I want the one 5 years from now to be even more powerful than this one's. But I don't know exactly what to do. I don't know how I should prioritize building my net worth over the long term. Well, we have a course that is ready and available for you called the Financial Order of Operations course, where we will actually give you an instruction manual for exactly what to do with your next dollar so that you can make sure your net worth statement is growing as effectively and efficiently as possible from now all the way to financial independence.
Yeah, all this stuff is aligned because I consider this the abundance cycle, is that we want to accelerate your journey to building success. And look, this is the part that I love about the abundance cycle. You come here, take all this information, apply it to your situation, you learn, apply, grow. You will reach a level of success that at some point you're going to get so successful that you go, man, I need some help.
Yep.
I need to bring in somebody to help me co-pilot this, or I'm just so busy. I know I'm not keeping up with all the decisions I need to be making at that level. And that's when the abundance cycle will go to the next level. You'll graduate to the point that you'll want to work with us, and we'll be ready to help you manage that wealth. It won't be looking rich. It will be actually be wealthy, and we're going to help foster that growth as well as just make sure you're maximizing all things financially.
We are so excited for you to start this process. We are so excited to get this tool in your hands, and we want to know what you think about it. As you work through it, as you spend time with it, let us know what you think, and you are going to be amazed at how this is a tool that's going to help you take your finances to the next level.
So excited for you guys. Go enjoy the journey. I'm your host, Brian Preston. Mr. Bo Hansen, Money Guy Team, out.